China.
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 China. That's why.
My first few days in China was hell. WhatsApp does not work in China. YouTube does not work in China. Instagram does not work in China. You would look helpless. You feel like you're in another world. In fact, you're in another world. Hi guys, it's Naya here and you're welcome to another episode of Chase of Naya. If this is your first time of tuning in, you're welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, I'd say to please stay subscribed, okay? Today we're going to be discussing the important things you need to know before you visit China. Before you make a visit to China, you need to know these things. They are very, very paramount if you want an easy and smooth trip. The number one thing on my list to be for you to get your visa. As a Nigerian, obviously you know you need a visa to get to most of the countries around the world. So you need a visa to come to China if you're interested in exploring China. Anyways, I know that there are some countries that don't necessarily need visas to access China. I also heard the Chinese government has introduced about, or is going to introduce about 15 European countries that don't need visa to access China for about 144 hours. And Nigeria is not one of them. So you need to get your Nigerian visa. The process of getting a Chinese visa, you need to discuss that with an agent, or you can read through and follow the process, because I applied for the visa myself. If you're coming for a business trip, you need an invite from the company you're coming to visit. You also need to get the government invite. That is after submitting your PCC, which is your police clearance report. There are some other things that you need to do, but the process of filling the form is actually very okay. I'm not going to go into details on how to get the Chinese visa. You can do your findings on them, or if I have the time, I can create another video or a separate video on how you can do that process. And if you want me to create this video, you can drop a comment in the comment section and I will do just that, okay? But anyways, as a Nigerian, you need a Chinese visa to visit or explore China. That is the number one most important thing you need. If you don't want to get bounced back at the airport, you're not ever going to cross Nigeria airport to get to this place. It's that simple. The second thing you need to know is that you need a Chinese SIM card, whether it's the physical SIM card or an eSIM. You can get an eSIM from trip.com, and that is very, very easy because you can get it before you get to China. However, if you cannot afford getting the eSIM card online, you can get a Chinese SIM card at the airport, even though getting the SIM card at the airport is really way more expensive than getting it when you're inside China. While I was receiving calls from my friends and families, as well as my customers over there in Nigeria, while they were charging them for international calls, I was also being charged there at an expensive rate. I was charged 100 naira per minute, and that is extremely expensive. It is actually expensive. And even the data I had a 46 gigabytes worth of data that got exhausted within 2 hours. So please, you need a Chinese SIM card. You can get that at the airport, or you can get that while inside China. At the airport is really way more expensive, but at least the airtime you're going to get already has a particular amount of gig. The one I got for 90 RMB, and it had a 150 gigabytes worth of data, which I'm not even sure I'm going to exhaust before I leave China. So yeah, you need a Chinese SIM card for ease of communication, to be able to also access their local network here, because most times your network from your country might not be working here very effectively. Another thing you need to know is that China is more of a cashless society. So you need to download WeChat and Alipay to make digital payments. I'm not saying that there are not places where you can use cash. Yes, of course you can use cash, but it's more easier to use your Alipay to make payments. All you need to do is to link your credit card or your dollar debit card or whatever card you can use for your international payments, and you'll be able to make payments directly from your Alipay. I have both Alipay and WeChat, but I am so much more comfortable with using my Alipay for payments and so many other transactions. Download Alipay and play around the app, because there are a lot of other things that you can actually do with your Alipay. I'll just say that app is so I think most of the things Alipay can do, WeChat can do them too, but I prefer to use WeChat for business communications. You can chat with your WeChat. You can also credit your WeChat, use your WeChat to make payments in China. I have had 2 experiences where I had to make payment for purchases made to a vendor, and instead of using Alipay, I decided to use the bank. I went to the bank to withdraw, and I realized that Alipay was lesser when it comes to conversion rates, because I used my dollar cards, and Alipay would have favored me more if they are debited directly from my card. So I'd prefer you use Alipay instead of wasting your time to go withdraw cash from the machine. I mean, why? Why go through that? Why stress yourself when the other one is even more convenient, more cheaper, and very easy? Another most important thing you need to know is that you need a VPN to go to China. WhatsApp does not work in China. YouTube does not work in China. Instagram does not work in China. You would look helpless. You feel like you're in another world. In fact, you're in another world. My first few days in China was hell. In fact, I saw hell. I felt isolated. I felt deserted. I felt like I was in a secluded place. I could not comprehend. I could not understand. I opened my WhatsApp, nothing. My friends didn't tell me. Nobody told me. I didn't even browse. I didn't even bother to watch nothing. And that is why I took the pain to come make this video now. You need to make sure you have a VPN before you come to China. And know that you need to get a VPN that actually works in China. Because you can actually do this before you get here and it might not work. You get? So you need to make sure that the VPN you're getting is one that works in China. The only thing the VPN does is to reroute you and then it looks like you're in another country. I think mine is showing that I am in Hong Kong or something, or USA. I don't even know the country it is routing through, right? It just changes your location online. So you need a working VPN to be able to access your social media platforms in China. The Chinese people are very, very comfortable with them living by themselves because most of these apps, they have the replacement for them. The Western apps that we all know, you will not be able to access them here if you're in China unless you're making use of a VPN. So yeah, you need to get a VPN. I got my VPN here in China because I didn't know all of these details. I didn't have all of this information before I got to China. So I had to travel to get my VPN done. And after that, I felt like I was alive again. I got my VPN, I got my SIM card, and that was all I needed to feel safe and comfortable and feel like I am ready for enjoyment in China. Yeah. If you also plan on coming to China with your laptop, just make sure that VPN is installed because if you're to browse or work digitally or online with your laptop, nothing is going to work, not just your phone. You need to download it on your laptop too if you need to use it to work. Another thing you're going to experience in China is the language barrier. China is not so English friendly country, so you need to at least download your Google Translator or whatever translator that is convenient for you to be able to communicate in China. I keep saying this, my first few days in China was hectic as hell because I didn't have nothing. No VPN, no data, no Google Translator, nothing was working. So the only few times I was able to communicate with people were the people I felt were learned. And when I approach them and I start speaking to them, they don't understand. What they all do is bring out their phone and give to me to speak. I speak into their phone and then they translate. And that's how we're able to communicate in the first few days. But for your own convenience, download a Google Translator. You can also use the translator on the Alipay app. That's why I said Alipay is very, very important. It's very, very paramount. It has almost everything you need, basically everything you need. The only thing I'll say Alipay does not have is the WeChat function of chatting with business people or with friends. That's all. So guys, get yourself prepared and make sure you have these apps downloaded and make sure you have all these things worked on before you come to China, okay? Another thing that saved me was the use of Apple Map. All I needed to do was to translate the address to English and then use my Apple Map to find my location. The one time I used Google Map, I can tell you I lost my way. So sometimes the Google Map can act funny because Google is not totally accepted here. So it was a bit of a challenge for me. Yeah, the Apple Map is English friendly and it's something you can use to move around China. And for some of you that don't have an Apple phone, that probably use an Android phone, another good thing you can use to move around China or navigate around China is to download their app. You can download Metroman China or Metroman Guangzhou, the one I used because I was in Guangzhou. It was easy to navigate. All I needed to do was to put where I was going to on the map. If I wanted to use train, it would just direct me, oh, this is the stop, oh, you interchange at this line, and stuff like that. That is what it does, and it's actually very, very easy to use. Another very important application you need for migration is the Didi app. Didi app saved me. In case you don't want to use train, you can use it to book your rides. Rides on Didi app is extremely affordable. It's extremely cheap. When I went to do my VPN, the VPN cost me 30 RMB. But guess what? The money I spent on transportation was about 180 RMB because I use public transport. I don't recommend public transport for anybody, because they can trick you, they can cheat you, they can make their meters to start reading faster than normal, like what I experienced from the airport when I first came to China. If you've not watched my first video, please go back and watch on how somebody tried to take $200 from me for a trip that cost not more than $10. That's times 20. If you're not careful, you'll be cheated. Okay? So please download the Didi app. It's very, very affordable. That trip that cost me 180 RMB going and coming would have costed me 60 RMB on Didi app. So please download your Didi app. It's very easy. It can actually translate the Chinese address to English. It's very, very easy. Use your Didi app for your movements. If you want taxi movements, car hailing, and what have you, Didi app is actually very, very fun and convenient. And you can find the app, like I said, in your Alipay. So your Alipay, you can find translation. Your Alipay, you can find your Didi app. Alipay, you can find even the map guide for trains, but I didn't quite understand how to use it for trains, and that was why I had to download the Metro Man. Okay, another thing you need to know is that the Chinese people dress modestly. All the times I moved around China using the trains and what have you, even with their population, I noticed that they are always covered. You cannot see somebody showing their boobs. The maximum thing you can see is even somebody wearing a short skirt. But they tend to wear their tops long, they tend to wear long gowns, they tend to wear long skirts and sneakers, jean trousers, and what have you. They are modest. Even with so much population in China, I can count the number of people I saw wearing short skirts in China. That is how modest I noticed they are. So they are modest, and good thing is I didn't come here with so much clothes. I only came with 3 jeans and 3 tops. So I just purchased clothes that is in line with their dress code. So if you plan on visiting China, you can as well fill up your luggage with modest clothes, not so revealing clothes, okay? Another beautiful thing about China is that China is a safe travel destination. China is extremely safe. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take your normal safety precautions, like not leaving your bags anywhere or your stuffs anywhere, but China is a safe place. It's a safe place to be at. I mean, from the communication I had with the Nigerian people I met here, they'll tell you that if you even drop, if your money falls on the floor, they'll call you to pick it up and all that. It might not be the same experience for everybody, but please take normal safety precautions. China is a very, very safe place to be at. There are cameras everywhere. There are cameras in almost everywhere in China. So whatever it is that you're doing, they can watch you, they can see you. I can remember when I first got to China, the video I had of the person, that the taxi guy that carried me, was just a part of his face that showed. And they were like, do you have a video? I said yes. I gave to them. But even if I didn't have a video, the first thing they asked me was, where did the taxi driver stop you? So do you know the essence of that question was so that they can actually check the cars that has dropped me. Maybe they will see me coming out of the car and be like, is this the car, and all that. That was the essence of that question. But because I had a video that showed a part of his face, they were able to use that part of his face to get him. And they called the man, and in an hour time, the man came back and returned my money. So any crime in China is actually very, very minimal. Very, 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 very low. Very, very, very low to its barest form. I, for one, I walked around China, whether it was 1 a.m., 2 a.m., you'd see me walking around. Sometimes I'm even hungry at these times and I go downstairs to eat. China is a busy city. I feel like they don't sleep. China does not have a sleeping economy. They don't. So at odd hours such as 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in Nigeria, the city is still busy. Guangzhou is still busy. People are still going around. You can actually book a taxi and they're like, where are you going to? They're very active and ready to work. So yeah, China is safe, is a safe travel destination, is an extremely safe travel destination. And how you know a country is safe is that they have a lot of people coming to invest in that country, because security is paramount for investors to come into your country. Another thing I'm going to add, I'm just going to combine it, is bargaining in China. Those guys have marketing skills though. So if you snooze, you're going to lose. Because when you go to the market and they tell you price, please price them. Price China people. These people are skilled marketers. Price them. Because so for something that is worth maybe if 15 yen, they can tell you that is 100 yen. They can even tell you that is 150 yen. So you need to be the one to start pricing. So you need to bring up your bargaining skills, your bargaining game, bring it up to them if you really want to buy things affordable in China. You get. They are salesmen and women. The few times I went to buy things at the Nigerian area, I was able to price. Even sometimes when I come back, I feel cheated. But that's what it is in China. Another thing is tipping in China, they feel like it's weird. Whereas in America and most of these European countries, they always want tip. I remember one time we went to eat and we gave them tip. They started laughing. And then when we asked why they were laughing, they said it's unusual to tip, or it's unusual for them to receive tips in China. It's not something they welcome. It means, from the person's narration, it means when you give them tip, you're saying that you're looking down on them, you're trying to help them. But I know that's not what tipping means. Sometimes you tip people because you appreciate them. But in those countries where tipping is actually very important, I don't like it. China people don't even expect you to tip them. They don't even see it as part of their culture. It's not something that they do normally. It's not a norm for them. So tipping in China is just off it. But if you feel like appreciating someone, you can do that. And if they want to accept, they would accept. If they don't want to accept, they'll reject it. It's as simple as that. Okay, one thing about China that I don't like is that they have squat toilets. You have to be ready for squat toilets. Most of their big malls, their restaurants, they have squat toilets. Even some places in their airports, all they have there is squat toilets. But some hotels actually have the normal Western toilets. So if you're already used to the Western normal seat toilet, you have to also try to readjust or adjust yourself to using the squat toilets in China. They have a lot of that over here. Even the McDonald's in China, what they use is squat toilets. I mean, when you go to Rome, you behave like the Romans. So that is basically what they have here. One important thing you need to know again is the Chinese food. If you have allergies, you can decide to come with your own food. However, if you're here to explore, you're going to enjoy the food in China because they have varieties. I feel like food is something that they don't lack in China. In fact, rice in China is free. You pay for every other things. You can pay for the meat, you can pay for the sauce, and they give you rice. If your rice is finished and you want more, they keep bringing rice for you. So because you don't pay for the rice, that is how developed the country is. Okay, so food in China is actually very, very okay. I feel like if you're in China, you're not supposed to fall sick. If you live in China, you should barely fall sick because their meals are very healthy. Vegetables, soup, and what have you. Taking of teas after every meal is actually very, very healthy. I know Chinese people, they have Chinese healthy herbs, a lot of them. So yeah, try to explore their food. You're going to enjoy it. The only thing I think I don't like about their meals is that I'm not so used to their food, and then a lot of ginger. A lot of ginger, I would say that. So it gives you this funny taste in my mouth after eating. But if it is about eating that food, I did. I actually had a lot of the Chinese food when I came to China. Like I said, if you also have allergies, please come with your food. Food in China is very affordable. Food in China is cheap. And when I say cheap, maybe you can eat for like 15 RMB, you can eat for like 30 RMB, you can eat for like 50, 100 RMB, depending on where you go to eat. Okay, so food in China is affordable. You can also spend up to 300 RMB depending on where you go to eat. But food in China basically generally is affordable, and there's always a lot. The people in China actually like to eat together. When you go to restaurants, you see them come in groups. They like to eat together, drink together, do things together, and more like a family. Okay, so yeah, food in China is great. Make sure to try out their food. Make sure you try out their delicacies when you come to China. Don't be narrow-minded. Explore, eat, and enjoy yourself in China. Okay, yeah. So guys, I think I've touched almost everything I intended to speak on, and I'll say China is a very, very beautiful travel destination. One thing you would forever love about the China people is that they are kind people. They are good people. They are willing to help. Their willingness to help you, their willingness to assist you is top notch. And hospitality in China is top notch. Like, they are very, very welcoming. People of China are friendly people, they are nice people. Make sure you get to experience them. Make sure you visit the country where technology continues to evolve. They always have innovative ideas, new things that are creating, new things that are planning to build, blah, 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 blah. I enjoyed my trip in China, and I'll say China is one place I'd love to come again. There are people that come to China every year because of businesses. I mean, for the Igbo man, China is a good place to come to. It's a good place to come to. You can trade, you can do businesses with your people and what have you. So please, guys,
August visitor.
Hey guys, welcome Michael.
Is this in video?
Yes,
Is me?
the video. So guys, please welcome my friends. What do you have to say about China?
China. It's a strong economy right now. It's second in the world right now, and it's expanding at the rate at which even Western markets are not meeting up to it, even catching up to it. So I feel China is a place to be. China has way more opportunities here than even you can find in the Western market, as especially Europe, because Europe is a declining market, right? China houses 1.4 billion people, and if the world is 7 billion, China is 1.4 billion. So think about the number. If you calculate the total number of countries and people who speak Chinese globally, that's around 2 point something million. So we're um talking about a great chunk, one fourth of, if not one third of the global population. So imagine your market, you have a potential. There's so many opportunities. Yeah, that's just a summary of it. All right. So I think depending on what you do or what you want to do, it might start by just taking a visit first of all. When you take a visit, then you can now plot your compass as to what suits you. Well, whatever you think you do and what you're doing right now, I think you can evolve it. You can find better deals, better quality, better pricing. All right. If you just travel and ask questions, like you're going to get connected to some value. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching our YouTube videos. Bye. Thank you for your time and thank you guys for watching our video. Bye.
Sorry. Bye. Bye.